There's a phrase we hear often: just change your mind, just do it. Simple words, but rarely a simple experience. Because changing your mind is not just a thought adjustment, often an identity adjustment, a shift in how you see yourself, a disruption of patterns, of routines, of familiar internal stories. And just doing it often asks you to move forward while uncertainty is still present. So today, let's explore this idea slowly, without pressure, without hype, just a calm conversation about change. This is Thinking with AI, a space to slow down and understand how technology is changing, how we think, how we work, and how we live. Let's talk. We often speak about action as if it's purely about discipline, as if hesitation equals weakness, but human behavior is layered. Action is shaped by beliefs, by perceived risk, by past experience, and by identity. So when someone says, "Why don't you just do it?" they're missing the invisible architecture. The mind prefers stability. Predictability feels like safety, even when change is positive, because unfamiliar does not immediately feel safe. So resistance is not failure, it's protection. Most hesitation is identity friction. If you believe, "I'm not confident, I'm not disciplined," then aligned action feels unnatural, and the system resists inconsistency. Fear is rarely dramatic. It often sounds reasonable. "I'll wait until things settle. I need more clarity." Delay can feel intelligent while quietly preserving stagnation. Change rarely begins with a leap. It begins with a reinterpretation, a small internal agreement, a subtle behavioral shift, one different decision. So perhaps just change your mind is not about sudden transformation, but about deliberate permission. And just do it is not force, but alignment, a quiet internal agreement between intention and action. Because doing without internal alignment often creates resistance. We tend to glorify decisive action, quick moves, bold leaps. But sustainable change is usually quieter. Many people expect a decision to feel like certainty, but often it feels like discomfort because the familiar has been interrupted. When your new choice conflicts with your old identity, tension appears. This tension is natural. It's psychological recalibration. After change begins, there is often a period where nothing feels fully solid. Old patterns feel wrong. New patterns feel unfamiliar. This is the bridge phase. Progress can feel destabilizing, even when it's desired, because expansion increases exposure, and exposure increases perceived risk. So retreat is common. Self-trust is rarely discussed accurately. It is not confidence, it is memory. A record of kept promises, built gradually. Major life shifts are built from minor decisions, repeated consistently. Not dramatic moments, but steady adjustments. So perhaps just change your mind is not urgency, but awareness. And just do it is not pressure, but willingness. Because willingness is where change actually begins. Not with certainty, not with confidence, but with openness. A willingness to reconsider, to question familiar conclusions, to loosen rigid self-definitions. Because many limitations exist more as assumptions than realities. The mind prefers coherence, a stable narrative, a predictable identity. So when you change direction, the internal system briefly resists. Resistance is not always disagreement. Sometimes it is adjustment, reorientation, recalibration, as the system updates to a new possibility. Real change is often subtle, internally negotiated, gradually stabilized, long before it becomes visible externally. We often expect transformation to feel dramatic, decisive, clear-cut, but most evolution feels ordinary. Quiet shifts still reshape lives. Small decisions still redirect futures. Subtle changes still alter identity. Because direction matters more than intensity. And perhaps this is where patience becomes essential. Not passive patience, but steady patience with the process of becoming. Becoming is rarely instant. It unfolds through repetition, through reinforcement, through lived evidence, as new choices become familiar. So if change feels slower than expected, that does not mean it isn't happening. If it feels uncertain at times, that does not mean it's wrong. And if it feels quiet, that does not mean it's small. Growth is often far less dramatic than we imagine and far more powerful than it first appears. If this conversation gave you something to reflect on, you're welcome to return to it anytime. And if you'd like more calm explorations like this, you can subscribe. Until next time, move gently, but move honestly. This is Thinking with AI, where we learn, think, create, and evolve.